Hey, Jim. Tell them the recording is staying home.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order for the city of Saratoga Springs. Today, Tuesday, March 15th, 2022 at 6:01 p.m. Present tonight, I have Councilman Karn, Councilman Porter, Councilman Wilden, Councilman McComber, and Councilman Podeska. So we do have a quorum. I've asked Councilman Podeska to lead us in our invocation tonight and Councilman Porter to lead us in our pledge.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for this opportunity to meet together as a city and residents, and grateful for this place that we have to meet in. We ask Thy Spirit to be with us, to help us in the decisions we have before us, that will be concise in our meeting, and also celebrating the achievements that have taken place here in our city. Again, we also pray for those that are overseas and in the current struggles with the Russian-Ukrainian conflict. Pray to be with them and help them to end this peacefully very soon. And pray that we'll continue to support each other and do what we can to help those in need. And this we say in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Guys, please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Presentations. Okay. We'll move on to item 5, the introduction of the new Veterans Council board members.
Thank you, Mayor and Councilman. I've got Corinne here with me. She's our new hire. She's my new boss. So excited. So she will actually be over the Veterans Council from Civic Events. So I'm going to let her introduce those.
All right, we're excited to have Levi Anderson, Javier Sime, and Pamela Formby as our new Veterans Council. If any of you are here, please stand up. Thank you. Is there anything else you want to say about them?
No?
Okay.
Thank you
We're excited to have them.
Okay. Any questions for him?
Could you see? Sorry. Yes. Okay. Great.
Any questions for him? Okay.
Thank you for your volunteering.
Perfect. Thank you for volunteering. Oh, Councilman Porter.
As the liaison for the Veterans Committee, I wanted to welcome our 3 new members. It's COVID was challenging for getting people to be able to attend and do stuff. So it's great to have some new members, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Okay, we have the presentation of the 2022 Miss Saratoga Springs Royalty.
I'm gonna have you girls come on up here. Our 2022 royalty was crowned on Saturday, and a couple of members of the council were there, and it was very nice to have you, and thank you for your help. Our 2022 queen is Sydney Crandall. She's in the center here. Our first attendant, Adeline Jensen, on the end, and you may recognize her. She sat with you on the stand last month as part of our youth council. Our second attendants are Taylor Martin in the green here and Emmeline Sconiers, and she's right here. And then we have our junior miss and our little miss with us. Lydia Prestwich is our junior miss, and Miss Sadie Dial is our little miss.
Perfect.
Do you mind
Councilwoman
if I take a
McComber?
picture of them?
You bet.
All right.
Councilman McComber has a quick question.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love to hear from Miss Saratoga Springs what her platform and what she's going to be doing for the city. If you can come to the microphone. Yeah.
So for my service project, I'm going to be, I'm going to try to put little library boxes throughout the city to promote literature and reading in our youth that maybe can't access the library or find it hard to spread creativity.
Well, that's fantastic. It's something that's well needed. So throughout the city, like down south more, and so that they can drop their books off, et cetera. Well, that's very cool. Thanks.
Great.
Okay, girls, just stand together and turn around. And if you want to stand
They
up.
can come over here too, and that's
Councilman Karn also has something
Okay, yeah, why don't you slide
while
right
we're queuing up.
Okay, smile. Okay, looks good, thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. We'll see you at the parade and at every other event. And what do they call it? Easter, the spring event. Spring fling.
Okay, we have the presentation, proclamation congratulating the Westlake High School Girls Varsity Wrestling Team for winning the 6A State Championship, round 2. Who's,
Hi, my name's Guy Burdett. Coach Burdett, I'm one of the coaches. My son actually is the head coach, and he isn't here today. He's out of town. And he asked me to come here, and so Cody and I have been, working together for years and years through his career, and then now he's gone on to become a very successful head coach. This is actually the 3rd year in a row that we've won a state championship. And it's really interesting because wrestling we think of, number one, as a boys' sport, number two, as an individual sport. But as we know, it's also a girls' sport. And these girls have really embraced it. And it's a sport that allows them to gain confidence in themselves and find out who they are as people and so on. And it's been a wonderful experience. What I'd like to do is have the girls come up, and then they can maybe each introduce themselves. So let's go ahead and come up like we did, the other gals did. Should we do a weight line?
All the different weight classes.
All right, well, we'll just start with you, Emma. Just say your name and then what grade you're in.
Hi, I'm Emmy Finlinson. I'm a junior.
And Emily was a state champion this year?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Lizzie Sean. I'm a junior.
Also a state champion?
I'm Jessie Harrison. I'm a junior too.
A state placer
I'm Ashley Cannon, and I'm a junior.
and a state champion.
I'm Jamie Barton. I'm a junior.
And
State champion.
I think we're going to win next year is what I'm thinking. We'll see you again next year. This is
Next
awesome.
year's
Keep
going to be
going.
a really good year. The year after is one we're really building toward.
I'm Samantha Dodson, and I'm a senior.
Yes,
I'm Haley Pig, and I'm a junior.
awesome. There you go. Keep going. Keep going.
I'm Allie Lafferty, and I'm a junior.
I'm Natasha Isom, and I'm a sophomore. I'm Ella Arnold, and I'm a junior. I'm Carol Williamson, and I'm a freshman.
I'm Cappy Robbins. I'm a junior, and I qualified for state.
I'm Katie Young, and I'm a junior. Paris Parker, I'm a junior. I'm Kelly Hall, I'm a junior.
We have a theme going. Lots of juniors.
Daniela Leon, and I'm a senior.
I'm Madison Gay, and I'm a senior.
She doesn't want to come up.
Yeah, and we have two additional coaches.
I'm Emily Finlinson, assistant coach for the year.
I'm Jaden Beagley. I'm an assistant coach.
Brandon Long, I'm assistant coach.
Thank you, guys. And also, I just wanted to say, as a proud dad, my son also won Coach of the Year. So
that's great.
That's great.
Great.
that was great. Go Coach.
Perfect. While you're here, I've asked Councilman Karn to read the proclamation we prepared as a council.
So before I read that, though, I just wanted to, I've got to figure out how to get better communication with the school. When we have something like this happen and we've got a team competing for a state title, I really like what our surrounding neighbors have done. And we've tried it a couple times and didn't get over the finish line at the championship games, but I'd love to welcome teams back into the town when it's possible with, public safety, fire, and police. It doesn't always work because they have other responsibilities. But if we could figure out a way, working with coaches and administration at the school, to communicate, I'm happy to be a liaison to the school to get those, so we know what's happening.
That would be awesome.
I found out that we won through Facebook after the fact. So we actually were going to try and do this last year. I talked to your son last year, and we never got back to in-person meetings in a timely fashion to have the team come in. So I'm glad that you guys could repeat, and I'm sure you'll be back next year.
Yeah. Well, one of the challenges, it's usually Saturday night and it gets done late. But there's no reason why we can't schedule on Monday or Tuesday and do something.
Yeah, well, we'll try and make it work. So I'll read the proclamation. Whereas Saratoga Springs is home to the Westlake High School Thunder, and whereas both Saratoga Springs and Westlake High School may lay claim to both academic and athletic excellence, and whereas the Westlake High School girls wrestling team has exemplified the true meaning of teamwork and has demonstrated not only the will to win, but also the will to develop their craft through hard work, sacrifice, diligent heed to their coaches, parents, and school administrators, and whereas the Westlake High School girls wrestling team has both collectively and individually continued to raise the bar of performance, and whereas the Westlake High School girls wrestling team has successfully competed in the Class 6A State Wrestling Championship, whereas the Westlake High School girls wrestling team has won the Utah State Class 6A State Wrestling Championship for 2022, in addition to their 2021, and whereas their victory has brought pride and prestige to the community of Saratoga Springs, now therefore be it proclaimed to all that reside within the bounds of the Saratoga Springs, Utah County, state of Utah, that evermore Tuesday, March 15th, 2022, shall be known as Westlake High School Girls Wrestling Team 6A Championship Day. Signed this 15th day of March, 2022 by Mayor Jim Miller.
Awesome.
Mark, can we get a copy of this to the high school, framed?
I think
Probably.
so. Sounds like it.
You guys, this is your third year winning, right? So we'll fix it.
It wasn't a sanctioned sport the first year.
I don't care, we'll put it on. You won.
Did you guys bring your trophy home?
These girls could take you.
No?
I'm not trying it.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you very
Thank you. You're what?
No, everyone does that. Come.
You guys are all welcome to stay and listen to all the interesting things we talk about.
They got practice. Okay.
Take me. It's a couple of those girls.
Okay. Item 8 and 9 are being pulled from the agenda tonight. So we are on to public input. Time has been set aside for the public to express ideas, concerns, and comments for subject matter not listed on the agenda. Please avoid repetitive comments. Please be respectful in your comments. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. If you're here for the public hearing, please hold your comments for the public hearing for the fiscal year 2021-2022 budget. Is anybody here for public input this evening? Okay. Seeing none, I will close the public input. We'll move to our work session. Sierra Estates, Patterson Homes is the applicant. They were tabled.
So Mayor and Council, Sierra Estates would like to, or Patterson Homes would like to discuss options on the properties here. This will be the last parcel for the Sierra Estates project. If you those around the council a while ago hopefully recall what had came through here. Basically, right now, the zone at the time was R36. In the agreement, if they didn't develop a assisted living type component of the project, it would default to what's now R110, R3 at that time. The applicant has worked with us. This is what they would like to do with the property. They would like to do a footprint development of 63 homes. When the DA came through on March of 2014, again, the motion was if there's no assisted living component, it goes to, at that time, R3, now R110, what the zone. So if they were to come back today and they don't have assisted living, they have to come in R110 lots, is what they would have to do. That was with the development agreement that was amended in 2014. 2014 was assisted living. Well, part of it, yeah. But that was, I don't know if it was Councilmember Barch or I think it was maybe yours, Councilmember Comber, to do that. We want the assisted living component. If not, it goes to R110. Yeah, so right now, the current MDA would require 20 single-family lots, 56 single-story cottages, which are a 2 to 3-plex, and then the assisted living component. If they have to go the assisted living route, they do show an option here where they'd like to do 36 twins, and then 17 single-family, and then a 106-bed assisted living facility. So they're open to discussion on what they would like to see and get some council feedback on has anything changed since 2014? Is assisted living still a component that you want to see there? But they would like to get some direction from the council.
I would just say, I remember when this came through, 2014. I mean, we, did the MDNA, need to get the and in there. Whatever, you know what I'm saying. We did that with some increased concentrations of homes with the idea that there would be an assisted living facility there. And if the assisted facility was not there, they would revert back to the original zone. And that was the intent. And it's something that can be needed in the city. And if the assisted living facility isn't going to be there, I think it reverts back to what we originally signed in 2014. That was the intent of the council then, and that will continue to be my as 1-6 up here.
Okay, Councilman McComber.
So yeah, I mean, I think the whole point of it is that I didn't want, because I wasn't sure if I would still be here, but I didn't want it to end up people not knowing, and then all of a sudden they get a lot more density because they just take all that space and put more cottages in there. The whole reason we were okay with the single family lots and then the 56 single story cottages, 2 and 3 plexes, is because those feed into the assisted living center. Because this is the whole project was a 55 and older, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, those cottages and everything was to feed in. It was an age-in-place development is what was presented to us. They're very successful. Our other senior communities and age-in-place communities are selling very rapidly. They're doing very well. They have wait lists. So I think that there's definitely demand for this in this community, in the city. And so for me, I'm okay with the current MDA of 20 single-family lots. One of the reasons why we wanted those single-family lots is as a buffer around it of the other neighborhoods and things that are in this area, and then the park. And that was the whole point of the density. So by having 20 and then 56 single-story cottages and 2 and 3 plexes, we were allowing that as an assisted living facility. So with 36 cottage twins and then 17 single-family footprint lots, I'm okay with that necessarily because it's a few less single-family footprint lots and it's a bunch of twin homes. So I don't have a problem with potentially a reduction. And the 106-bed assisted living facility, I don't remember what size assisted living facility they talked about before. I don't think they had a number. But again, 106-bed assisted living, there just needs to be plenty of parking for that many kind of guests coming. I know where my dad is staying in a place, and the parking is sometimes difficult, but it's not in Saratoga Springs. So I guess as more of it comes forward because I'm seeing the option here, right, with the 36 cottage twin homes, I'm leaning towards that'd be okay. I mean, it's the density of houses is okay. So.
Good. Thank you, Mayor. So as part of that original MDA, it did require the 20 larger lots for that buffer, and they're now showing cottage lots right along the edge. Do you want them to buffer that?
I would like the buffering still to occur, so I can't, even with my glasses, I can't see the small print.
Those are cottage lots immediately behind the other 10,000.
So where are they showing the 17 single-family footprint lots? Where are those?
They're 2,000, they're 2,500 square foot.
They're footprint lots.
They're footprint lots that are about a quarter the size of
Yeah,
that.
I wouldn't be okay with the footprint lots.
Again, based on your comments, I just wanted to circle back and clarify and make sure that that was.
No, it was supposed to be quarter acre lots with some exceptions down to the 9,000. You know, there's the various, so many around the perimeter.
They actually were what, 6,006 to 6,700 square foot. So they were not quite that, but those were what were intended. But the footprint lots that you're seeing here are at about 2,500 square foot. That's much smaller than what was in the original MDA. So again,
that wouldn't give us the buffer that was promised. So.
Yeah, and I just wanted to make sure I was clear on that particular point.
I appreciate the clarification. So no, I want the 20 single family. Oh, I see the word footprint now in there. 17 footprint lots. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the footprint lot. I think that it's just too small. It comes across very dense. So I would be okay with the current MDA.
Yeah, I was not around in 2014. I lived here. There were two options in the packet. This is only showing one. The other option not shown here, I'm completely against. It had no senior center. It was all footprint lots. And I'll stick to the MDA there. The other option with the senior center, if that can be done, with the single-family lots sticking to the lot size agreed to in the MDA, it needs to be reconfigured. Then I'm open. I'm open to looking at things. But if not, I don't know the exact date the MDA would expire and go back to R110, but I'd rather see the MDA fulfilled.
2024. So you would have to go back and rezone the property. That would be the legal requirement.
Okay.
And you could do that. You'd have to provide notice to the property owner and have a public hearing, but you would have to actually, if we wanted to, go forward with the process to rezone the property. If they were going to go away from the assisted living facility.
Again, to be clear, Chris, you would be comfortable in 6,000 square foot lots like the original MDA. We're buffering right along the existing houses, and then some of that other housing configuration. As long as it's consistent with the MDA, you'd be okay with this concept plan if it will rework to meet those dimensions.
Correct.
Councilman Porter?
Yeah, so the footprint lots, I mean, I guess explain to me what the, we've talked about it in other instances, and other instances it hasn't been necessarily workable. But my understanding is that they only own basically where their foundation is, and then it's common area around it.
Yeah, I mean, what you see there, and then the cross hatching, that would be a private area, and driveways, I believe, limited common. But yeah, basically,
okay, well, I'll stop you. I'm not interested in this one either. So I'm talking about, yeah, that one. This one has the 17 single-family footprint lots. I mean, this is a senior community with assisted living. I'm guessing that if they're living in this community, there's several people that are not interested in doing any outdoor maintenance in their yard. That's kind of
Probably a fair assumption if
right?
it's a age and place type community.
Right. I mean, some of these people, the people on the 36 cottage lots and stuff, that if they have a private area where they can keep a garden or whatever, that makes sense. But if this is truly an age in place, there's going to be somewhere where there are people incapable of taking care of their yard. And so I almost think it's ideal in this situation to have a few footprint lots where it's being maintained entirely by an HOA and they're only in charge of, their interior space. I do agree with Councilman Karn that we want to maybe re-wicker it so that they're not right up against the existing homes and that they're maybe more interior to the property. But
Did you have a size along the north, the existing homes that you'd prefer to see?
As far as the footprint lots?
Lot size?
I not off the top of my head. I mean, 2,500 square feet is pretty large for somebody who's homebound. And not, I mean, my grandmother, lived in a house half that size and never left it and was perfectly happy.
That's not the home size, that's the lot size.
But if it's a footprint lot, potato. The home is 2,500 feet if it's a footprint lot, right? Or am I misunderstanding?
You could build something that would occupy that footprint of 2,500.
Right.
There'd be different house designs, I'm sure, that would fluctuate a little bit on how much square footage you occupy.
Right. Okay. I guess I'm. Yeah. So I think that, it makes sense in this particular use case to have at least some, and this seems to be a smaller portion. It's less dense than the current MDA. Again, I don't know what the assisted living facility in the current MDA envisioned as far as size and stuff like that. But I think this is truly age in place, whereas if you are making everybody maintain property, you're going to have trouble.
If I could clarify, when we were talking, the whole, even on the single family homes, their front and backyards are all being maintained. The whole thing is still being maintained regardless of the single family home.
Right. Okay.
Sort of like Lakeside, where Lakeside is front backyard.
They just aren't buying as much acreage.
Right, so the whole point was this 20 single family lots, or maybe there's a husband and a wife still.
Right.
They want to have like a little garden in their backyard or whatever, but it's being maintained by the HOA outside that box. And then if they can't take care of themselves, then they move into the cottage, and then they move into the assisted.
Right. I guess in my mind, the 17 single family footprint lots, is that still intended? I mean, is that intended to replace the 20 single family lots or the 36 cottage twins?
Yeah, I mean, we can have the applicant speak to that.
I'm just trying to understand, the difference between proposals.
I'm Ross Welch with Patterson Construction, and I apologize for being late to this meeting. And I appreciate the discussion. I want to start with one thing, if I can jump, and then I'll answer your question.
Okay.
First off, this first part of this meeting was to apologize to you. We dropped a big one when we came with this plan of 63 cottage homes. We made assumption, and it came to our attention of that meeting was coming to the city council that day, and it said, oh, by the way, your agreement does not allow this. And we went back and read it, and we felt pretty sheepish, like, uh-oh, it does not. And so we just want to apologize for having used up your time on something that it was not our intent to try to sneak through and do. And so now we're looking at this plan. Here's what happened. The other plan had much smaller, what truly were little cottages, and what we have at our assisted living operation in Alpine. And we have seen those are really challenging. People love them, but they're challenging because they're outside the building, right? And to get services from the building, to go eat at the criteria, to do these things gets to be very challenging, and so we've decided to eliminate that. Bring more inside the building so the building's larger for that purposes. And so these are strictly just twin homes. So these are homes like I live in right now. I live in a twin home in Alpine. So these homes are just, that's the layout for the twins, and that's why you don't see as many of the cottages. And the others are for those who aren't really wanting to have a twin home, want a more single-family life deal. They're not going to be big homes because that's not what people are looking for. We're trying to just get their living space on one floor, that they have bedrooms, family and kitchen and everything on one floor. And that's kind of the goal for this type of product.
So the 17 lots, are those the ones across the top and the
Yes.
and the side?
Yep. Yes.
I'm missing.
So it kind of is part of a transition, right? So we're going from a twin home to a single family to then a normal neighborhood right next to north of it.
Right. I guess, to Councilman Carn's point, if we could, I understand the idea. And It's probably nicer for those in the twin homes to be closer to the assisted living center.
Right.
But if there's some way we could rejigger it so that the 900 series homes aren't up against the quarter acre lots and the bigger twin homes are, I think that would alleviate some of the open space feel and the tight clustering feel. I'm not, in this case, I'm not overly concerned about the footprint. In a normal housing community, I do have concerns that I share with the rest of the council. In this particular use case, I am less concerned just because this type of community is going to have, smaller homes and, single family homes. They're not going to have big 2-story homes and mansion homes like in some of our neighborhoods. So.
Well, this is very personal to me. For example, I mentioned I live in a twin home. It's just under 1,400 square foot on the main floor, right?
Right.
It's just a open plan space, a big master suite. That's it. And then additional bedrooms down in the basement where we throw food down there if someone stays there. And so it's kind of this, you live right here on this main floor, everything else is auxiliary.
Yeah.
And so so we've made these footprints a little bit bigger so we could add to that if we want. But I don't think those footprints are any bigger than the ones across. So it's just that one's a freestanding building as opposed to it being.
Right. I see your point, but and maybe it's just the optical illusion, but looking at.
So you're saying you'd
the
swap it. You would say, put the single family on the other side of the road and the twins on the north side.
Yeah, just because
Getting a lot of no's.
the 1,000 homes, the twin homes.
Yeah.
Just at least according to your plan, look like they have a lot more open space, a lot more. It just feels a little bit more open. So we're not.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I think the concern from your neighbors is, you're putting a bunch of houses really close together right next to me, and then over there, there's all they're kind of spread out.
It's really not, though. If you look at the 1,000, the side yards, there's like a couple spots where it's wider, but.
Right.
I personally would like to see the bigger family, the 20 family lots around the top. Leave the twin homes where you were so that you're truly buffering single family home to a true single family home to the duplexes, and then you've got your assisted living.
Yeah, because if you look.
And we're 1 of 5. He's 1 of 5, I'm 1 of 5. So you want to hear from all of us because you don't want to do everything that just Chris says or what I say.
Right.
Because then you'll be like coming back and you're like, how come you're getting a no? But I just saw a lot of the reactions on some of my colleagues' faces, so you're going to want to hear from all of us. But I want to see just make the side yards bigger on those, you're calling them footprint lots, 20 single-family homes, make it bigger, and then you're golden.
So just for reference point, if you notice, on the north side of this road where we're showing the single family starts with 901. So we got 12 units on that side. Versus on the twin homes, we have 14 units. So though it may look a little space, there's actually more density on the south side of the road than on the north side of the road.
Right,
and it's a twin home. People don't like living by. They don't want to. The single family people are going to fight multifamily homes more.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're trying to create back to this product of this is not our tendency of younger.
You're going to say something.
we're looking this as a more aging community, right? So that's the plan, what we're trying to look to do, and
Yeah, and that's
and I
what
appreciate your feedback. I mean, these things we need to think about, so.
Councilman Podeska?
I too wasn't here at the 2014 for that discussion. But as far as the feathering, I'd go with the earlier comments of the discussion of as far as like with the single family homes going to the duplexes. The only additional comment I wanted to make was out of the two, I know you're kind of retracting the first option, but as far as the road layout, the second option, I'd really prefer to keep the, what is it called, Kawich Street, how it is in this diagram, where it's connecting to to potential road on the east side over to Carlton Avenue. And so I prefer that layout as opposed to in your previous layout. It has you going through more residential streets to get over to that main road of Carlton Road.
Gotcha.
Can you clarify? I'm trying to look at the map.
So if you toggle back to the other map, you see
Yeah.
how the road goes to the east and will go up to the UDOT property off of his property. It's kind of an off-site road connection.
Right.
So in this particular scenario, it dead ends kind of in an awkward way. And what I think he's saying is that this dead ends awkwardly, whereas the other layout, so if you go back to that, has a more direct route down to 400 South.
Both directions, I
In
think.
both directions, yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
But he's just saying when they do the redesign, don't go back to that other road.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yes. So yeah, that's just my only comments for that.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Carn?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that my comments are clear. I am totally in favor of the single-family products up against the existing single-family products. However, I want those single-family products to live by the original MDA of the 6,200 square foot lots, whatever that was. I don't have the exact number in front of me, as opposed to the 2,500 square foot lots. I like single-family butting the single-family, but I think this is going to be too tight.
Okay. I understand what you're saying. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
I'm actually going to walk back what I said a little bit because I had flipped the numbers in my head because I was looking at the current MDA and I was thinking that was what you're proposing, like trying to fit more density on there. So I apologize. That was a cursory review problem on my part. But I am supportive of moving things around a little bit because you are requesting essentially 23 units less than what was in the original current MDA. And I think the lots are smaller because you're trying to put it in based upon what you say. And this is why these type of meetings are good, so that I don't have a knee-jerk reaction like I did. So at least I can correct my knee-jerk reaction. Because you're having a larger assisted living facility. So I think there's some flexibility on this, and you know, I think I'm supportive of what most everyone said. Because if you just look on the diagram, not diagram, but plan up there, we try to really feather it, and that's going from what are those on the top side? Quarter acre lot to very small lot. So finding something in between so it feathers it a little bit. What? No, the one on the top.
The existing
Yeah,
development.
the existing ones, because that doesn't provide a great feathering there. But figuring out some way to work through that, I think there's some flexibility, because I do think an assisted living facility, there's another one planned in the city, but as the city ages, like, it's a product that the city needs, and I think people are gonna want it, and.
Well, we all have a lot of older parents too.
Yeah. I mean, he'll be in there in another year or two.
Only 5 years away from Peterson.
I'm teasing. But, so the whole point is, I'm supportive of working through things a little bit based upon, you know, relooking at the numbers, but I do think we need to feather that a little bit better.
Okay.
Councilman Porter?
And that was my only intention is to deal with the feathering. I personally have no dog in the fight whether the twin homes are next, it's the feel and the feathering and the density. If we can, however you can rework that to make it a little bit better for those existing homes, I think that was what I was trying to get at. I tend to believe that even though the homes are closer together, that the neighbors are not going to be too concerned with their new neighbors over the fence. Because where some really small, dense housing units, it cause problems with parking and with, lots of noise and stuff. This is going to be a quiet neighborhood. So I'm not, I don't know that anybody's going to complain.
Well, I don't know. They might be a partying group of people.
It's possible, So, but that, I think, to clarify my earlier statement, I don't necessarily care where the twin homes go and the single family homes go. I just want to make sure we're taking into account the homes to the north and making
I have been
appropriate
educated tonight. That is a term I had not used in the past, of feathering. So now I've got a new word in my vocabulary. I'm ready to go.
We use it all the time.
Just a quick comment too. We're looking at another property like this that's coming through the city right now, and it's deed restricted for 55 plus.
Okay.
Is that what you do with the following federal guidelines? Because that's what we're doing with the other community.
Good point. So specifically is will all those homes be
55
age restricted by deed?
And we have not made that decision yet.
But I think that was part of the original MDA, if we're not mistaken.
I'll check and
The
verify
point
that.
was
Discuss that
all
with
the
the
extra
developer.
density and a lot, because we weren't worried, to your point, the amount of cars.
Low impact density.
Low impact, and so we were willing to allow more. Yeah.
Michael, were you the one that figured out that was supposed to have assisted living in it?
Well, I would have noticed that if you came in and the other one, I would have said absolutely. No, I think the staff figured that out, but I would have absolutely, because I've talked.
You remember those things.
Well, we've done this for a while. I remember what we promised people, let's just say.
Yeah. Well, apparently we didn't, so.
So
You're gonna benefit having this, you're gonna make good money with that.
it's not at this stage of the plan, but will these be untitled, then next to a large park? Does it need to be there? Will civic events?
Well, the park's already there, then typically we don't have to worry about that because they can see it, but we're not lighting that park. If we ever wanted to light Neptune Park, then we would probably want
You know,
And a carnival.
the whole concerts and a carnival there for a full week.
You might want to put it on your title that there's a big carnival every year there.
well, I think that the amenity actually works really well for kids visiting grandparents and things like that, because now all of a sudden it's, let's go to grandma's and let's go across the street to the park that she had built just for us. And so I think it ties in well.
Well, the residents will.
When there's civic events, that road is full of food trucks.
I would just think about it. It doesn't hurt to put that on the title. By the park, you have the big lighting. If you're by a farm where they can shoot animals on their, guns are being taken.
Feedlots.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't hurt to just make sure that your people don't come back to you complaining.
So just to kind of give the consensus, looks like the MDA, still, everyone want to go with the current MDA, but you're willing to move the density around, but really the point of concern is the north side of the road, the number of units that are on the north side.
Give him an extra duplex if he had to. If he loses it because he's losing them above and he wants to put an extra duplex somewhere, I'd have to. I just really want that feathering.
And the bottom corner, is that a detention pond? Is that what that is?
Yes, so that's going to be expanded as well from what's there now.
Are you going to keep it native?
It'll be grassed.
It's grass today.
Yeah.
Keep that grass.
Yeah.
And then Kevin, you'll check on the 55 deed restricted like the other
Yeah,
properties.
we'll check that to see if that's a condition of either the approval or actually in the development agreement.
Okay.
Because that was the whole point of allowing the densities.
And just one other comment, the parking on the front of 400.
Yeah.
I just work with staff because sometimes, putting the parking there as opposed to having the building, closer to the streets and things, we'll let them give you that feedback, but thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other questions for the council?
Thank you so much. And once again, I apologize for being late. So,
No problem. Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to go back and add number 9 back. Councilman Podesta.
Thank you. And again, we'll be very brief. We wanted to just really more for the sake of everyone that probably hasn't scoured through the packet. We did provide you with the budget options that came in this year. We've had a chance to have some discussions with you on that. As we continue over the next few months, we'll discuss the budget, more and more. But if you have any specific questions now that we've kind of rolled this out, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to discuss it if there's concerns, if there's things you'd like us to address. Obviously, there's still some things that are quite fluid. We're still, like earlier today, I got an email from the state saying, here's what the URS, the retirement rates are going to look like for this year. And so we're going to need to make some adjustments on that. But we've done some budget amendments throughout the year. And then, we've got the budget requests that have been made for this year. And we'll finalize, or we'll adopt a tentative budget. Mr. Quayne, when will that be?
Tentative budget will probably be in May. We'll be presenting the balanced budget in April, is the plan right now.
Okay.
We only have one council meeting in April.
Yeah, and we can adopt that sooner if you'd like, but generally, we just have to adopt the tentative budget and then have the public notice process go forward, and then formally adopt the budget. But with spring break. We moved it to the second week of April, since the third week is the league conferences down in St. George. And so really, if you have any questions, reach out and let us know. Spencer, did you have?
No, it's just been a pleasure meeting with you guys. If you have any questions, just feel free to reach out.
I saw it's a separate folder, the budget folder. Some things. Mark, if a developer, that's a busy time of year. If they need an extra session, I would be okay. I mean, I'm sure.
So as a reminder, we're also doing the early session the 28th to award Foothill Boulevard, and then we're kicking a development agreement off of this meeting, 29th, sorry. We're kicking a development meeting off of this, so we've got 2 items for that meeting. So we've picked up an extra meeting in there as well, so
As long as the developers don't feel like, I don't want them saying, oh, they only meet it once a month.
Piece of spring break.
So it just, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. Now back to the work session, Code Amendment Title 19, City Initiated.
When we first started this, for every week.
I'm just getting all these up for you.
Sorry, it's acting up. Okay. Here's a quick summary. So, as you're all aware, we had the joint work session last year regarding office warehouse. And then in December, the council passed the pending ordinance to discontinue that zone, except for properties that, already had that zone entitled and already had a development agreement. So then we are proposing to add a zone called heavy commercial. And so what we did in our definitions was we made some clarifications, added some new definitions that would prevent massive warehouses. And then we added a heavy commercial zone and regulations, and then a list of permitted uses. And then also discontinued the office warehouse zone, as was mentioned. And then in 1909, which is parking, we just removed warehousing. And in 1916, we added architectural standards for the heavy commercial zone. And then in 1918, we just added heavy commercial to the signage category. So they would have the same signage standards as the other commercial, as regional commercial. So do you want me to go through each section, or do you just want to let me know what comments you have?
Councilman Carn?
Do we define massive?
Well, we didn't use that word in the document.
Okay. Massive, yeah. So we took out massive warehouse. I'm like, well, what does that mean?
Well, yeah, we didn't use, what we did in the draft was put in some size limits. And so in the heavy commercial zone, we put in a size limit of 50,000 square feet. And then we also.
Can you give me an example of what that is? 50,000 square feet? What's a Costco or what's a?
Costco was.
Smith's is 100, yeah.
Yeah, Smith's was, so, I'm sorry,
Half of this, like the old Smith's is on.
Home Depot is 100,000, not including their garden area.
Okay.
Yeah, so half of that.
When we looked at the Mill Pond property, they were all like 40,000, most of the smaller
Standalones.
ones.
Right.
Not the bottle, but the other side of the road.
Right, so Mill Pond was about 40,000. They had two buildings that were 80,000. And so we did draft in here an option where they could have 80,000. So, and what the exception is if the property is 20 acres, then one building can be 80,000.
Okay.
And the rest would be 50,000. So we put in some scale, some scale limits on that. We didn't use the word so. And then in the office warehouse zone, we vested everybody to the sizes on their concept plans or otherwise 80,000 square feet. Sorry, that's probably really hard to see. There we go. So this spot right here. We added setbacks and lot sizes and such, and building height, et cetera, for the heavy commercial zone. And we just balanced between the regional commercial zone and the office warehouse zone. So you'll see, like the minimum lot size 30,000, that matches our regional commercial, and then the front setback matches our office warehouse because we expect those buildings to be a little bit more intense. And yeah, so we're wanting the bigger setback in the front. Where in regional commercial, we have it at 10 because we want the restaurants and eateries and stuff closer to the street, so.
Okay. So, keep getting this message that's blocking all the view. Okay, Councilman Podeska.
Yeah, so in the definitions, with the warehouse, office warehouse flex space.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure that we're accommodating for the dance studios, the athletics, that typically gravitate towards these flex areas for that. I'm not seeing, for example, it's saying, it has to be a combination of two or more of the following: office, retail, or warehousing. When you go to the definition of retail, it's really just talking about sales and not services. It does mention services once, but it goes into product sales there. So I guess I want to see in the definitions where it'd be a little bit more clear.
Well, and we'll take all your comments, and then when it comes back for the public meeting, we'll have all of that in there. So I typed it in now so that.
Okay, but yeah, just so that those type of businesses can still use the flex space in there.
Councilman McComber.
I just wanted to thank you for the level of detail. As I was reading through it, I kept thinking of all the things that I would want to catch, and you guys covered it. So if you could please take that back to all the team that helped with this. I know you had a big part in this, but just as the team as a whole, you just checked all the boxes of the concerns that the Planning Commission and the City Council had. And so I just really appreciate that because I have no notes. So
that's fantastic.
Very good. Thank you.
Councilman Wilden.
Just a couple questions. I agree it's well done. I'm not taking away from that, but a couple questions on the maximum height structure. I know we picked 35 and 45, and this is intended to be a heavier use than regional commercial, but then in regional commercial, we allow for 50 foot. Any rationale behind that, or?
We did have a conversation with a developer that builds these type of buildings, and when you go taller, it's actually more attractive to shipping and receiving. And then a lot of the other users that you're talking about, like gymnastics, such like that, they don't actually need as much height. So the 35 feet, from what the feedback we got from them, would be adequate for that. And then what we did is we added the exception for 45 feet if 50% of the building has office space. And that was for the reason I just mentioned, so that if half the building is office, then you're not getting overtaken with housing.
Okay, so.
Can I still go?
Yeah. I want to ask about what you just talked about.
Okay, go ahead. If it's relevant, if it's not, shh.
Okay. So I watched the planning commission meeting where they talked about this. They had a developer, and they do this tilt-up office warehouse type stuff. And they said the forms for their walls, like the standard form that they pour, is a 40-foot form. So like I don't want to limit them, where they're having to custom build
Yeah, that's a
their
good question.
concrete forms. So I just, if we can look into that and see if there's if there's, the industry standard is 40, then let's put it at 40, but.
Sorry, I was joking.
No.
Yeah. Was that the North Shore project when it came through? Because they're the ones that wanted to go to 40.
It might have been the North, I can't remember which project it was, but it was somebody who was talking about building.
It was probably that, because that's when you instructed us to then go to 40, which we did change on the last go-around of, and so they would still be allowed to go to the 40.
Because they're doing.
Because they're currently under still the office warehouse zone. The new ones would then, whatever you approve would then go by that.
I just want to make sure we're not like.
It could be the standard form.
Right, yeah. If we could look into that and make sure that we're not, making it overly difficult. Go ahead, go back to Stephen.
This is just one thing, and maybe it's already been answered, but, we're abandoning the office warehouse zone. Is the intent to replace all of them with this new heavy commercial zone? The reason why, and I'll tell you why, and then you can answer it. Sorry, the reason why is the office warehouse was intended to facilitate some office buildings and whatnot. And so if we all of a sudden blanket all of these heavy commercial, we don't want to necessarily then create an avenue that's not going to bring in any office spaces next to homes or where it fits. I think we just need to be careful of what we don't blanket everything with heavy commercial.
Business park is going to get lost because we were going to hopefully have a business park and.
Yeah, because to me, my memory, that was kind of the part of the office warehouse. The warehouse is more of an ancillary thing. We want offices and things like that. And I think what we're doing's very important and necessary. I just don't want to all of a sudden create this scenario, okay, now it's all going to be.
I think it's a good point, and maybe when developers are coming in, we could let them know that we'd be willing to allow business park and heavy commercial in the same complex to meet your.
Yeah, and thinking about it, I would be okay with, I don't know, like a regional commercial within a heavy commercial, if that's the type of use that they were coming in with. I don't want to say any store name because I don't want some rumor out there, but some big box.
Comment.
Yeah, he can wait till I'm done. So.
I think he's got an answer to your rant.
But it's not a rant. Well, anyway, my whole point is if all of a sudden we had a regional commercial come in and wanted to go into one of these areas and it was 100,000 foot square thing, it would be nice to be able to have that as an option without requiring a rezone. So that is my suggestion, non-rant. It was very well done. I agree with that.
Okay, so your suggestion,
Hold on, Sarah, it's my turn.
all right.
We had a discussion about this morning, and we decided that what we're presenting to you here tonight is the first step in addressing our office commercial needs. So this is kind of our office warehousing end of it, our heavy commercial end, but we're going to look further and deeper into the business park zone and look at presenting some new zoning concepts for our various office commercial needs. So the Class B, Class A, the different types of zones that we might want to have in place to encourage the different types of office zoning. So again, first step tonight, or moving forward, then we'll go deeper into that.
No, I think that's great, and I'm not being critical. I would just say if someone comes in and we blanket done a, what are we calling this now? Heavy commercial, and wanted to say, hey, a big box store or an office building or whatever it may be, I would be fine expediting the rezone request and waiving all fees because we haven't made it to the other things.
Yeah, because we're not there.
Yeah.
My next question is, are we holding anybody up here?
Maybe, I don't know.
Not at the moment,
Okay.
but we have a couple that are interested.
Changes by the hour in Saratoga.
I just don't want to be holding anybody up because we're going back and forth on these.
She says there's a couple that might be coming.
Right.
So talk to them, and if there's a concern, we can obviously work with them.
Okay. Councilman Porter.
Okay, are you?
Yes.
Okay. I like Stephen's idea. I don't necessarily want to like allow regional commercial uses in the zone because then it's, loses its focus. But I want to allow the uses, but not just say you can build regional commercial without a rezone, I think. But if we can work some way on the setbacks or something against regional commercial, so they can basically plop a regional commercial right in the middle of something like this if they wanted to, I think that's what he's getting at, right?
Even what are you talking, business park though?
Or business park. I'm fine with both of those.
Unintended consequences of rezoning, a blanket zone to something else.
Yeah, so he hit most of the stuff. The one other thing, so when I'm picturing this, we're talking kind of, the model I keep using in my brain is what this particular zone you're talking about doing, different types of business park zones and stuff so we can address those needs. But in this particular one, I keep going back to Mill Pond because that's the one that's nearby. That's the one I've been into the most often to see. And so when I was looking at the use table, there's some that I might prefer to not see there, such as automobile repair, automobile sales, at least not exterior automobile sales. There was a bunch of other ones. And then there's some ancillary uses like convenience stores and car washes and stuff, which might be permitted as an ancillary use, and I don't know, you've got all these footprints or these footnotes that, just reference other code, and I didn't have a chance to see what it was talking about there. But I think in my mind, I would almost like to hone this in on, just those uses that we really want to see in that type of mill pond type development. And then, even if we carbon copy this and then put all of the other uses like automobile sales and stuff and those more intense uses into a light industrial zone or something like that. Because I don't necessarily, if we were going to put this somewhere, this contemplates being put next to or near residential zones. I don't know that we want to have, some of these uses like the automobile repair and stuff in there. In the past, there's been a lot of pushback from the council as having those really close to homes. So I'd be interested in other people's, like the light industrial manufacturing, stuff like that. The other thing, I did show this to somebody who is a developer in this space and is looking at our city. And one thing they brought up under the 1909-10, the required minimum parking, they said it seemed really, it was vague. I don't know if that's intentional or not. Sometimes we are intentionally vague, sometimes we're not. But where they might not have all of the tenants lined up before they build this, they might, spec some of the spaces. They don't really know is it just 1.5 stalls per, they don't know how many employees are, Jump On It has different number than, the Enso Ring store. So I guess they don't know how to plan for parking.
Go high and then you're going to have more options, I guess.
Is that how we do it? Is we basically, if they put in 200 and their last use comes in and we're just like, you can't have that use because you don't have enough spots? Is that I just want to know what
That hasn't happened yet, but we don't have any of the buildings yet. So.
What happened to Cafe Rio?
Then we did a code amendment, Cafe Rio was under old code, yeah.
We had to go and Vasa was underparked and we had to go to Walmart's excess parking, and so if they have other parking around and they can leverage, great, but if not, then they don't get it.
We do have the change of use permit, so when a tenant leaves, another tenant backfills, we look at it because it's substantially, may have a use that requires that the uses coming in may need 50 more parking stalls, we'll say, that doesn't work. It just doesn't work with parking. Now, when a first-time tenant comes in, we really don't have that, any kind of review. First time a tenant comes in, it's regional commercial and they're permitted use, they just go right in. We do it on the second go around when they leave and somebody backfills. We'll look at it.
Okay. So that was just some feedback, was that they were like, I don't know how many stalls to put in because I don't know who's going to be in there.
And I think our office warehouse flex has a different standard. I don't know.
'Cause most of our others are based on square footage, right? But these are tough because you might have 10,000 square feet and only 2 people working there.
Yeah, so our,
entire warehouse.
Right.
our office warehouse flex has a standard for the retail space and then another standard for the warehouse space. So it's not this, so it looks more like what you're
Yeah.
seeing under warehouse that we're deleting. So the 4 stalls per 1,000 for office and retail, and then the 1 stall per 1,000 for warehouse. So that's what our office warehouse flex looks like.
Okay, so I don't know, I just feedback from the development community, so.
They don't like parking.
Okay, sounds like we've got some work to do,
Sounds good.
but we appreciate your feedback.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to reports. Anything from the council to report? Councilman Carn?
The mayor and I had the opportunity to participate in the pageant this weekend. I was about as far out of my comfort zone as I get, growing up in a house of boys. I have 4 girls, but I'm not a member of the pageant world. But it was fun. We had a good time. I thought the city did a good job with the organization and the putting on the pageant. I thought they did a great job with it. I want to commend our Ann and her team on that and all the volunteers involved. I think a lot of work goes into it. And I look forward to it next year. I'll probably participate, so.
Good, because I did it 8 times, so you can do it.
And then I got one other question. Jeremy, and the other council members probably got the same emails. I got several emails this week from residents in Mount Saratoga on speeding. Can you remind me the process to do a speed or traffic study in the city, who I need to refer them to?
There's a traffic calming, like a flow process on the engineering portion of the website. So if you direct them to they should be able to just search in the search bar on the main page, where they can go to the engineering page.
Departments, engineering.
Could you just shoot me a link?
Sure.
And I will respond to those 5 emails with that link and let them know not to have all 5 of them do it, but maybe a spokesman for the 5 homes there to take care of that?
Absolutely.
And then the city will do a traffic study with speed studies and everything else, right? Thank you.
And just a quick note on that, we won't be putting out traffic counters until after we're out of the snow season.
That's fine.
So it would be maybe a month from now.
As long as we're communicating, I think that's fine.
Yep.
Okay. Councilman McComber?
So I just have,
Yours won't light up. No, you're dead.
Talk loud.
all right, it won't go.
Grab Podesta's
My
mic.
mic's dead, of course, right? The technology is perfect.
Oh, there it
goes. Oh, okay. So mine sort of piggybacks. I've had a few requests from actually the Talus Ridge neighborhood. Is there any way we can talk to Edge Homes? I know they're very accommodating and work with us, but the trucks, if they could just go not go down Talus Ridge Boulevard from 7:30 to 8:30 in the morning, and maybe from for 45 minutes to an hour in the afternoon. There were kids stranded at the school. They could not get to the school. The parents couldn't get there. It took them 20 minutes to literally go. They could have walked faster. And so I know you hear about this, Chris, I'm sure from your neighbors. They're complaining a lot. But I had a few people send me emails because I went up there. I had an opportunity to go with Mark and staff and others to go and talk with the Edge. When the Edge people came in, they were so frustrated about the change in the development. And I just really wanted to thank Edge for stepping up and really being true partners with the neighborhood and with the city and city staff. The residents didn't get everything they wanted, but it was a really good compromise. And, a lot of it's about communication because it was a flex zone there that they could do different things. And that was what they were promised. And they're putting in really big lots, just not right backing these. And so Edge is actually making the effort to really lower the grades of the backyard so there's more of a full daylight basement, and then the yards line up. And he's paying for a unified fence all the way across the back. Not only that, he's reimbursing the people who build fences already on that back side. He's not doing their sides, but he's reimbursing them for their back fence. On top of that, he's planting trees in all of the backyards that the HOA will maintain, and he's giving any resident any number of trees. If they want 3 trees, he will give them good caliper trees that they could put in their backyards that they would then maintain. So, I mean, we're talking close to $100,000 worth of costs with the fence especially and all this. And and extra landscaping and things. So I just felt like it was good. I got feedback from the residents that at least they felt heard. And so I think that, just great to see the process and see us resolve the issues when we had a pretty good amount of residents coming in here with the pitchforks. They were pretty upset. And so if we could just talk to them about the trucks, if they're, at least until they can open up the north-south route to SR 73. Thanks.
Okay. We'll move on. Talk loud. This fine system just crapped. What was that? No, the whole thing. Like, I have no controls up here. It just dropped, froze, then shut down. Oh, maybe.
I'll take care of it because it's working on my
Okay. Oh, I'm back again. Okay. Yep. Oh, mine's working again. Third reboot's the charm.
You have to touch the screen to wake it up.
Okay. Mark, anything from administration?
No, we do have a need for a closed session this evening, but we're just keeping our nose down, working on a lot of projects. We're looking to have the Old Saratoga Road, Pioneer Crossing, temporary closure wrapped up here soon. Hopefully weather works with us. I believe they were supposed to have it open by the 21st, if I remember correctly, and we'll let you know if there's any deviation from that.
I don't think the snow's helping.
Murphy's Law kicked in with some weather, so, but we'll hopefully have that open as soon as possible. And then we look forward to opening the bid for Foothill on the 29th. So thank you for allowing us to have that special meeting and work with contractors on that. I believe that's it.
Perfect. Okay, public hearing for the fiscal year 2021-2022 budget.
So was that for the budget amendment or for the budget?
This is the
budget amendment.
Yeah, budget amendment, sorry.
Okay, this is the 5th budget amendment for the year. We only have 2 items. Increasing the budget for the rec center feasibility study. And then also some monies are going to be put aside for purchase of modular office for the department. Any questions for staff on the items?
Nope. Well, this is a public hearing, so we'll open it for the public. Is there any comments from the public? Anybody? Okay. I will close the public hearing. Nothing was sent in. Okay. I will entertain a motion.
I'll move. Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
You've got your mics on.
okay. I'll move that we approve public hearing item 1, resolution R 22-11 dated today.
Second.
I have a first from Councilman Wilden, a second from Councilman Porter. Any further discussion? Podeska?
Aye.
McComber?
Aye.
Carn?
Aye.
Porter?
Aye.
Wilden?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Have the consent items.
Move to approve consent items as listed with any staff findings and conditions.
Second.
Okay, I have a first from Councilman Porter, second from Councilman Carn. Any further discussion? Podeska?
Aye.
McComber?
Aye.
Wilden?
Aye.
Carn?
Aye.
Porter?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Sorry, I just have a question. I didn't want to put it into the motion, but the UDOT agreement where the Pioneer Crossing signals, I couldn't figure out where that was.
So the signal is currently planned to be right about the bend as you're getting ready to go
On the
onto
east
the
side of the
bridge.
river.
And it's now moving it back to east to
Okay,
about
good.
800,
So
which
you're
lines
not
up with
getting a
our.
light right on the bend
No.
and having
Right.
someone rear end you.
Right.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay. Business items, Canyon Hollow Summer Village rezone.
Mayor and council, this is a rezone request, 1498 Summer Village Road, the parcel in blue. The general plan does have this as medium-density residential, and so the rezone request to MF10 is in agreement with the general plan. The property configuration you see here, these are 2-story, 2- and 3-unit buildings, so they do not fall under Prop 6. There's no limit to this type of structure in the city. Here's the elevations. Planning Commission recommends approval with the findings and conditions.
Questions from the council?
My only comment here is, if you can go back to the map, I just really struggle when you've got a private road connecting to a private road, connecting to city roads on both ends. I understand there's not a great way around this. But you're creating a private road and you're inviting the public through it by connecting all these roads.
Yeah, in this case, we're not sure what other option we have, because either at some point
I get it.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
it's not the best design, obviously.
You know, as a homeowner there, when I'm paying for that road, it becomes very difficult because you could get as much truck traffic through there, and are they going to all of a sudden put up gates because they're on a private road?
Well, and the snow plows come stop.
Right,
Lift
right. The snow plow's plowing, he stops plowing,
Lifts the blade,
he drives through it and
then
drops his
continues.
blade again. Yeah,
And
that's,
that was actually a point of discussion when it first came through, and can probably pipe in here, but we've got to look at, at snow removal.
Well, you have to lift the blade,
point-
because if we damage the road with our blade, we will be held accountable.
Yeah, and the Summer Village
I'll tell you its history.
project to the north and what would be the upper right-hand corner, that was already platted with the right-of-way for a future extension to come through there. And whether it's public or private, at some point, we're going to hit a public and private are going to
yeah.
be.
I talked to staff about this, and I just see so many. I don't know how to get around it. I see so many problems with that issue.
I hate the private road system. I hate ours.
But I think we initially requested that it be public, it's tying into a private road, right? At the north end, it's.
Right, the north end is private.
Right,
Yep.
so really the issue is you have that one segment of Summer Hill Drive that's public, the one that goes up by
But you got,
Jiffy
public,
Lube.
private, different private, public.
Right, so then you have a different HOA.
Yeah.
Their residents are using this HOA's roads and not contributing or whatever. We did talk about if we were gonna transition mid-block from public to private, which is not a great situation. They need to provide us a way that we can turn our plows around. The plow's not gonna drive through because it's all private, so he would have to literally turn around.
They want to do.
So currently, we have that old, what was it platted 20 years ago when they did.
Is there anything stopping that
Not even.
HOA from gating both ends of their community?
They can't
Nice.
gate it.
The plat on the like I said, on the northwest already has an easement for a future connection to this property.
Okay, so they can't do that.
They wouldn't be able to put a gate if they have an easement. Yeah.
I think we initially requested that the applicant continue the public road through and tie into the private, at least then you would have a transition at an intersection. But I think there was some concerns about this is a very tight site.
Is it possible to
They
create
like the private road because it takes up less property than a public road.
Because the private roads, they don't have to have the
No
sidewalk.
park strip, there's no park
The
strip.
park strips aren't there.
It is a difficult situation, but this is something that allows the developer to move forward. Although it's not the ideal, I also think that it's impossible to unwind the previous decisions
Right.
that were made that
Well,
put us right back here.
My question here is, and I don't want to open Pandora's box, but would it make sense to do an MOU on maintenance and have us plow through there, or?
Is there a way to vacate so our public road stops when you enter?
I'm throwing spaghetti against the wall to see what's.
So there's a public road that's only accessing.
I would recommend us not taking over maintenance of the.
I don't disagree with that. I'm just trying to figure out.
It would make more sense to vacate the portion of public road that is at this point servicing only a private development.
What?
But I don't know, that's not, easy.
Yeah, but what private development wants to take over the city road and take over responsibility for that cost?
Because that portion of
wouldn't.
Summer Village Road, once you pass the access to Summer Village,
Mhm.
the place it's taking you is this neighborhood.
Into that private neighborhood, which connects to the north private neighborhood, which
Right.
connects to public roads. It's a mess.
So, in an ideal world, they could all be one HOA.
Anyways, that's my concern.
Can you show me, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm done.
I just want to see that, so it says 13 units, but I count 15. So I'm confused.
There's 15 there.
But it says 13 units.
Oh, it's just typo.
Okay. So is it still 8.2 units per acre, or is that a typo?
I guess I could clarify, just brainstorming out loud here. Actually, probably the best solution would be when the properties east of this road develop, take that road, take the public road as a hard 90 straight over to Fourth East.
That is a good solution.
And then this could be more, as opposed to this being a straight road.
You're talking about those green properties?
So, yes.
So run a road straight east off of the public road.
Where the public, turn this road into a knuckle almost and dive at 90 degrees to the east, so the public road goes straight, and this then becomes a private access. Yeah. It's just, I don't know when the Thompson and their properties develop, but when they do.
Put a note on they come in that you're.
And then the plows can just.
Then the knuckle becomes the private road.
Yeah, then the plows can just continue over to Fourth East.
Right.
Well done, Jeremy.
Look at that.
Earned
Earned your pay today. There you go.
We'll leave the applicants here if you have any questions.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that it's 8 point, is that really
The density is 10, it's still going to be under 10 units an acre on that.
with 2 more units?
Yeah.
Perfect. If there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Fine. I'll move that we approve business item 1 as stated on the agenda, including all staff findings and conditions.
I have a first from Councilman Wilden,
I'll second.
second from Councilman Podeska. Any further discussion?
I'm just voting aye because this had a vested right for higher density.
Yep.
Do you want to include an allowance for staff to work with the applicant to make a public road?
No, we solved the problem.
I
Jeremy's got it.
Yeah.
do have a question on the motion.
What I'm saying is, without having to come back here for a meeting.
It won't change his project. This is the new future projects, what Jeremy's solution.
The next project will have a public road.
Yep.
You had a question
I
on the
have a
motion?
question on what Councilman Comer just said. Because if I look in here, it is zoned ag today. It's land use
We're
map.
not changing the zone.
Just the zone.
Excuse me?
Changing the zone.
We're changing the zone. It's zoned ag today. They don't have any vested right today.
The general plan.
The general plan, which is not it's a guidance document, and I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but
there's not a vesting today.
But we had intended this.
I agree.
Okay.
So thank you for the clarification, that it's an intended density for this area.
Okay, Wilden.
Aye.
McComber.
Aye.
Karn.
Nay.
Porter.
Aye.
Podeska.
Aye.
Motion carries. And we've been asked to table item 2 in the business items. So I will entertain a motion to go into closed session.
So made.
I have
Second.
a first from Councilman McComber, second from Councilman Karn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Do we have to table this? No, I'm not opposed. Sorry.
We just pulled it from the agenda. Do we
He can do that.
pull it? Okay.
Because he has.
I have the power.